have a little plaything called Western philosophy. One of these things is 5 different points of view, 5 distinct points of view. There's 2 sides to every story. Well, fuck that. And I like to have at least 5 opinions on any given subject. It's a lot more than 2 sides on any given subject. And this side is the cynical side. I mean, there's nothing fundamental about these 5. It's bullshit. I could do 5 others, or 6 others, or 3.5. I didn't, whatever. I can draw lines on paper however I want. So I want to do a little bit of a personality review on this overpopulation thing. Cynic. I'm battling cynics here with a lot of this stuff. Gary is a decent cynic. I'm not sure I'll go into why that is. But in contrast to the morbid atheist, who, he wants to, people like you, Piro, that don't admit, meanwhile I'm admitting all the problems. Well, I was going to say we want to do some of the same things about the problems, but you know what, I don't know that. I don't know that he wants to do anything. I've said when I want to water people and stuff, he thinks that's the problem. First, you got to say their life is shit. First, you got to say their life is shit, even with water. That's a lot of golf for someone to say when they have water. Even with water. Somebody without clean water, life's shit anyway. But he hasn't said, yeah, let's do the water thing, but. Basically, I don't bring my cynical side out that much for something like YouTube. Because what good would it do? Cynicism serves a role in life, but generally my cynical side does not want to come online because what's the fucking point anyway? Like, you're going to get it. I could have a cynicism off with Gary. We'd try to describe how fucked up the world is. Like, you're going to get it. I'll bet I can describe it as more fucked up than him. But I can also describe it as more glorious than he can. And that's why the net sum is that my description of the world is just more full. It's better and worse. Like, you're going to get it. The morbid atheist cynicism really is just... Because the thing is, the morbid atheist, and he's wondering, well, why? Because I was telling him I was going to teach him something, and he said, oh, you're not going to teach me anything. I said, well, you may refuse to learn, but I'll have taught it. It takes 2 to actually learn. But, and why am I being so egotistical with him? It's because of this stuff. Because he just whines about this. He's not paying attention to what we want to do in common. His cynicism is just a pouty kindergarten syndrome. You hear me, the morbid atheist? Your cynicism is just a pouty kindergarten pout. It's not even a genuine cynicism. You're so confused about whether you want to make the world better or worse or not. Inmendham has much more legitimate cynicism. I mean, it has the flaws of cynicism. There's a sort of pathetic pretense to pessimism. But it has a redemptive quality in that, yeah, he does go on living. He finds reason to live, obviously. You see him live through his cynicism, which he calls having a chance to make things better. No reason to leave this shithole to the rest of you motherfuckers. I might as well take part. Hey, let's have a conversation. Nothing else to do in this shithole. And there's a kind of positivity of let's do something. Let's do something. Let's do something. Whereas you just want to cry and pout and whine. And I'm guessing probably because you had it too good and you feel guilty about it. Let's do something. Now, the other opinions that I like to have is in this little toy is, besides cynicism, is a Stoic opinion, an Epicurean opinion, a Pythagorean opinion, because I don't like Plato, and of course a skeptic opinion. And the reason I generally advocate skepticism is because it's the only one of the 5 opinions that acknowledges the value of the other 4. Now, I don't say all opinions fit into those 5 categories. Of course not. You can set up any number that you want. I just do that because I learned those 5 schools. I kind of appreciate a little bit of each one of them, including the cynicism. And, I consider myself familiar with defaults and advantages to those particular 5 opinions. It's just ready at hand. You have a subject matter. I can pretty much say, well, what a Stoic opinion on it would be, and so forth. If I am to guess about 2bsirius, I would have to say that it's not cynical at all. The part I don't get is that 2B, you said we can handle 7 billion people, but we're not. So that means it's an efficiency issue. So it's really, and you also use the Pascal dilemma idea for it. To me, that says that you think we need to hype up this subject to get people scared and thinking about it. We need to overhype it to get people scared and thinking about it. We need to make it a bigger deal than it really is, just so people will do anything at all. We need to argue that 5 solutions are needed just so that we can get one, to get people scared and thinking about it, or something like this. And we need to argue for a mile because all we need is an inch. Well, that's not philosophy, first of all. That's politics. But maybe philosophy and politics mixed, you're doing. I'm going to ignore politics, except for when I'm talking about politics. And if it means I make a contradiction, I say one thing in philosophy, and I say, but we should, talk about it this other way in politics. Well, that's because of metaphor and cognitive science and how communication works. You have to use the metaphors from your culture, for example. In philosophy, you can use the metaphors from your culture's philosophy. It's a different set of metaphors. There's no way I'm in on, hyping things up when I think we're talking philosophy. Now, if we're talking politics, to get people scared and thinking about it, I don't think we need to hype it up. I think we need to talk about resource shortage to get people scared and thinking about it. It's obvious that crowding is one of the issues with that. And we should talk about it overtly. We don't just leave it to be obvious, but it doesn't need its own separate explanation. We know that 1,000 people, in a 100-acre area, involve a certain amount of crowding. And if they have the resources, that's no problem. And if they don't, then it is a problem. So anyway,